The document slammed onto the witness table. The sound echoed through Committee Room 2154 like a gunshot. "Congressman Schiff, this is you lying on national television." Dan Bongino's voice cut through the chamber, calm, measured, lethal. His finger pointed at the projection screen behind him. The room of 200 people fell silent. Every camera swiveled toward the screen. The video played. Adam Schiff's face filled the display. It was March 2017, inside an MSNBC studio. His expression was serious, concerned, practiced. The host leaned forward. "Congressman, have you seen evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia?" Schiff nodded slowly, deliberately. "I have seen direct evidence of collusion." The video froze on his face. The committee room exploded. "Point of order! Point of order!" Schiff's voice cracked across the chamber. His face flushed crimson. He half rose from his seat, one hand gripping the table edge, the other stabbing the air. "Mr. Chairman, this is highly irregular. This witness is—" The gavel cracked once, twice, 3 times. "Order!" Chairman Jordan's voice boomed. "The witness has the floor. You'll have your chance to respond, Congressman Schiff." Schiff dropped back into his chair. The leather creaked. His chief of staff leaned in and whispered frantically in his ear. Schiff waved him away, sharp, dismissive. His jaw clenched. The vein on his left temple bulged, thick and pulsing, visible even from the gallery 30 feet away. Bongino hadn't moved. He stood at the witness table, one hand resting on a stack of manila folders. His suit jacket was perfectly pressed. Navy blue American flag tie, red, white, and blue stripes, perfectly aligned. His posture was military straight. Secret Service training never leaves. His expression revealed nothing. No triumph, no anger, just focus. But his eyes locked onto Schiff like a laser sight. The congressional hearing on FISA abuse had been going for 90 minutes before this moment. Testimony from FBI officials, document reviews, procedural questions, the kind of Washington theater that makes C-SPAN viewers reach for their phones. But Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent, former NYPD officer, podcast host with millions of daily listeners, had the floor now. And Adam Schiff was about to have the worst day of his political career. "Let's watch another one," Bongino said. He clicked the remote. The screen changed. CNN, May 2017. Schiff again. Different suit. Charcoal gray this time. Same serious expression. Same practiced concern. The evidence of collusion is more than circumstantial. Click. ABC News, September 2017. Blue suit, red tie. We have evidence that is not yet public. Click. NBC, January 2018. Black suit, American flag pin on lapel. I've seen evidence that is overwhelming. Click. MSNBC. Again, March 2018. The evidence is clear and compelling. 5 clips, 4 networks, 18 months of statements, all saying the same thing. All is. The gallery, packed with reporters, conservative activists, political staffers, and tourists who stumbled into history, erupted again. Cameras flashed like lightning. Reporters typed furiously on laptops. Someone in the back shouted the words, "Liar!" in the chaos. The gavel cracked repeatedly. Chairman Jordan's face strained from the effort. Bongino waited, patient, still, a predator watching wounded prey struggle. Schiff's face had gone from red to purple. His hands trembled slightly as he grabbed his water glass. He drank, set it down too hard. Water sloshed over the rim, spreading across the polished wood table. He didn't notice or didn't care. His eyes darted to his fellow Democrats on the committee. They were all suddenly very interested in their notes. No eye contact, no support. He was on an island. "Congressman Schiff," Bongino continued, his voice carrying effortlessly through the dying chaos. "You just watched yourself 5 times on 4 different networks over 18 months, making the exact same claim that you had seen direct, compelling, overwhelming evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia." Pause. 2 seconds felt like an hour. "Here's my question." Bongino leaned forward slightly, his hands flattening on the witness table. "Were you lying then, or are you lying now?" The room went completely silent. 200 people. Not one sound. The air conditioning hum became deafening. Every eye turned to Schiff. The California congressman's mouth opened, closed, opened again. His prepared talking points, carefully crafted by staffers, focus-grouped, poll-tested, approved by party leadership, evaporated like morning fog. He looked at the screen, at Bongino, at Chairman Jordan, then back to Bongino. The investigation was legitimate. The predicate for the investigation was, yes or no, Congressman?" Bongino's voice hardened. Not louder, but harder. "Did you have direct evidence when you made those statements? The intelligence community had information that, yes or no?" 3 words, 3 hammers. Schiff's face twitched, his left eye just a flutter, but the cameras caught it. The context of those statements requires understanding the broader context. Bongino picked up the remote again. "Let's talk about context." Click. The screen split. Left side. Schiff on MSNBC, January 15th, 2018. "I have seen direct evidence of collusion." Right side, an email. Date stamp clearly visible. Same day, January 15th, 2018, 9:47 a.m. From Daniel Goldman, Chief Investigative Counsel to Representative Adam Schiff. Subject, urgent. Steele dossier verification issues. The email filled the screen. Bongino read it aloud, every word. "Congressman, FBI has informed us this morning that Christopher Steele's primary subsource has disavowed key elements of the dossier. They cannot verify the central allegations. Recommend we refrain from making definitive public statements until we have confirmed intelligence." The timestamp glowed 9:47 a.m. Bongino pointed to Schiff's TV appearance on the split screen. The timestamp there, 7:00 p.m. Same day. "You got this email in the morning, warning you, telling you the evidence couldn't be verified. That same evening, 9 hours later, you went on national television and claimed you had seen direct evidence." Bongino's voice dropped. Quiet. Dangerous. "That's not a mistake, Congressman. That's a choice." The gallery erupted again, but this time it was different. Before it was shock. Now it was fury. Conservative activists were on their feet. Applause broke out. Chairman Jordan didn't even try to gavel them down. He let it happen. 10 seconds. 15. 20. Schiff sat frozen, his hands flat on the table. His face had drained of color. The purple flush was gone. Now he was pale, gray, his eyes fixed on the email on screen. His email, his warning, his lies, all exposed. When the room finally quieted, Bongino wasn't done. "Let's talk about what happened next." Bongino reached into his briefcase, pulled out a thick binder, blue cover, official seals. He opened it with deliberate slowness. The pages made a crisp sound in the silent room. "This is the Carter Page FISA application, October 2016. the document that started it all. He lifted out a page, heavily redacted. Black bars everywhere, but enough text visible to read key passages. Page 17, FBI internal notes. Quote, source reporting cannot be corroborated through independent means. Source credibility assessment unknown. End quote. He set that page on the witness table, pulled out another, page 23. Quote, primary subsource has not been fully vetted. Reliability of reporting uncertain. End quote. And another page, page 41. Quote, verification of key allegations pending. No independent confirmation obtained. End quote. 3 pages, 3 admissions. The FBI knew. These are from October 2016, Bongino said. The FBI knew the Steele dossier was unverified. They put it in writing in this document, the document they used to get a warrant to spy on an American citizen. He looked at Schiff. You had access to this FISA application, didn't you, Congressman? Schiff's lawyer, sitting behind him, expensive suit, blank expression, leaned forward. Whispers. Schiff shook his head. The lawyer whispered more urgently. Schiff waved him off. I had limited access to certain classified materials related to the investigation. Yes or no? Did you review the Carter Page FISA application? Specifically to you, and I reviewed relevant materials. Yes, so you saw these pages, these FBI admissions, that the Steele dossier couldn't be verified. The dossier was one piece of a larger investigative. You saw them, yes or no? Schiff's jaw worked. Yes, and you saw them before you went on television 47 times, claiming you had seen evidence of collusion. I never said the dossier was the only. Bongino held up a hand. Let me save us some time. He picked up another document. This one was different. White paper, single page, simple formatting. This is a timeline. My team compiled it. Every TV appearance you made, every interview, every press conference where you discussed Russia collusion and the investigation. He projected it on the screen. The list was staggering. March 22nd, 2017, MSNBC. Direct evidence of collusion. March 29th, 2017, CNN. More than circumstantial. April 2nd, 2017. ABC. Evidence in plain sight. May 8th, 2017. CNN. Overwhelming evidence. May 15th, 2017. MSNBC. Clear and compelling. The list went on and on and on. 47 entries. 47 times Adam Schiff went on television or spoke to the press and claimed evidence existed. 47 times, Bongino said. Over 3 years, 47 separate occasions where you told the American people you had seen proof of collusion. He paused, letting the numbers sink in. The Mueller report found no collusion. The Inspector General found 17 major errors in the FISA process. The FBI has admitted the Steele dossier was false. But you kept going for 3 years. Bongino's voice rose slightly. Not a yell, just intensity. At what point does mistake become lie? Because I count 47 times you had a chance to tell the truth. 47 times you chose not to. Republican committee members leaned forward in their seats. Representative Biggs scribbled notes furiously. Representative Jordan, the chairman, had a slight smile. Representative Gaetz was nodding. The Democrats looked miserable. Representative Swalwell stared at his phone. Representative Raskin studied the ceiling tiles. Representative Plaskett had her arms crossed, face neutral, but she wouldn't look at Schiff. In the gallery, conservative activists were recording on their phones, every word, every moment. This was going viral. Within minutes, Schiff finally spoke. His voice was steady, but there was an edge, a sharpness born of desperation. Mr. Chairman, I object to this entire line of questioning. This witness, this podcast host, is not qualified to— Point of order! Representative Jordan cut him off. The witness was invited by this committee based on his extensive investigative work. He served this country as a Secret Service agent and NYPD officer. His credentials are not in question here, Congressman. Your statements are. Schiff's face flushed again. This is a partisan hit job. A hit job? Bongino's eyebrows rose. Congressman, these are your words, your TV appearances, your public statements. I'm just showing them to you. Out of context, you're cherry-picking. Cherry-picking? Bongino nodded. Okay, let's look at the full context. Then he pulled out another binder. This one was massive, 4 inches thick. He dropped it on the table with a heavy thud that echoed. This contains transcripts of every interview you gave about Russia from January 2017 to December 2020. 4 years, 863 interviews, press conferences, and public statements. My team went through every single one. Schiff's eyes widened slightly. Want to guess how many times you expressed doubt about the collusion narrative? How many times you said, "We need more evidence," or "We should wait for the investigation"? Silence. 0, Congressman. Not once. Not one time in 4 years did you pump the brakes. Every single statement was absolute certainty. You knew there was collusion. You knew Trump was compromised. You knew the evidence was overwhelming. Bongino flipped open the binder, pointing to a highlighted passage. August 2018. Quote, "There is ample evidence of collusion in plain sight." You said that after the FBI had already told the FISA court they couldn't verify the Steele dossier. You said that after Christopher Steele himself told investigators he couldn't confirm his own reporting. You said that after the Mueller team had interviewed hundreds of witnesses and found nothing. Another page, January 2019. Quote, "I think there is plenty of evidence of collusion and conspiracy in plain sight." That's you. 1 month after the Inspector General's draft report, which you had access to, showed the FBI had committed serious misconduct in obtaining the FISA warrant. Another page, March 2019. Quote, "The evidence is damning." That's you. The same month the Mueller report was completed, finding no collusion, no conspiracy, no coordination. Bongino closed the binder, looking directly at Schiff. You didn't make a mistake, Congressman. You ran a disinformation campaign against the American people for 3 years. The room was dead silent again. Schiff's hands gripped the table edge, knuckles white. His breathing was visible, chest rising and falling rapidly. "I stand by my statements," he said, voice strained. The investigation was legitimate. The concerns were real. And the evidence of the Trump campaign's— "Stop!" Bongino's voice cut like a blade. "Just stop. We've established 3 facts here. 1. The FBI knew the Steele dossier was unverified. 2. You had access to that information. 3. You went on television anyway and claimed evidence existed." He picked up the remote again. "Now, let's talk about what else you did." The screen changed. A new document appeared. Chart format, timelines, dates, names. "This is a pattern analysis," Bongino said, "created by forensic investigators. It tracks classified information from closed-door hearings to media publications." The chart showed a series of parallel timelines. Left column, dates of classified intelligence committee hearings. Right column, dates of news articles containing information from those hearings. The pattern was undeniable. Classified hearing, February 7th, 2017. Washington Post article, February 8, 2017. Intelligence officials briefed on Russia contacts. Classified hearing, May 12, 2017. New York Times article, May 13, 2017. Grand jury subpoenas issued in Russia probe. Classified hearing, August 4, 2017. CNN article, August 5, 2017. Mueller team examining Trump business transactions. 15 examples. 15 times classified information appeared in the press within 24 hours of a closed Intelligence Committee session. Coincidence? Bongino asked. Maybe once, maybe twice, but 15 times? That's not coincidence. That's a pattern. He clicked to the next slide. Phone records, heavily redacted, but call logs visible. These are metadata records, not content, just times, dates, and durations of calls obtained through legal discovery in a separate lawsuit. He pointed to highlighted entries. February 7, 2017. Classified hearing ends at 5:47 p.m. At 6:13 p.m., a phone registered to your Chief of Staff's office calls a Washington Post reporter. Call duration, 42 minutes. The next morning, the Post runs a story with details from that classified hearing. Click. May 12, 2017. Hearing ends at 4:15 p.m. At 5:03 p.m., the same phone calls a New York Times reporter. Call duration, 37 minutes. The next morning, the Times runs a story with classified grand jury information. Click. August 4, 2017. Hearing ends at 6:30 p.m. At 7:45 p.m., the same phone calls a CNN producer. Call duration, 51 minutes. The next morning, CNN reports details about Mueller's investigative scope, details discussed in that classified session. Bongino stepped back from the projection screen, crossing his arms. 15 classified hearings, 15 phone calls from your staff to reporters, 15 articles the next day containing classified information. He paused. Congressman Schiff, did you authorize your staff to contact reporters after classified hearings? Schiff's lawyer was on his feet. Mr. Chairman, this is an outrageous accusation. There is no evidence that— Sit down, Counselor, Chairman Jordan said. The witness asked a question. Let the congressman answer. The lawyer sat reluctantly. Schiff cleared his throat. I have never authorized anyone on my staff to leak classified information. The suggestion that I didn't ask if you authorized leaks, Bongino interrupted. I asked if you authorized contact with reporters after classified hearings. Different question. Schiff's eyes narrowed. Members of Congress regularly speak with the press. It's part of our job. About classified information? I have never revealed classified information to the press. Did your staff? Not to my knowledge. Not to your knowledge? Bongino nodded slowly. Let's test that knowledge. He pulled out another document. This one made Schiff go pale. This is a deposition from a reporter at the Washington Post, given under oath in a defamation lawsuit. The case was settled, but the deposition is public record. Bongino began reading. Question. Who provided you with information about the February 7, 2017 Intelligence Committee hearing? Answer. I received information from a source on Congressman Schiff's staff. Question. Can you identify that source? Answer. Daniel Goldman, who was then the Chief Investigative Counsel. Question. How did he provide this information? Answer. He called me at approximately 6:15 p.m. that evening and briefed me on elements of the hearing that he characterized as important for the public to understand. Question. Did he indicate whether Congressman Schiff was aware of this communication? Answer. He said, quote, the congressman wants the American people to know what's really happening. End quote. The room erupted. not applause this time. Shock, gasps, reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing. Chairman Jordan's gavel was useless. The room had lost all pretense of order. Schiff was standing now, pointing at Bongino, his voice rising to a shout. "That deposition was sealed. This is a violation of—" "It was unsealed 3 months ago, when the case settled," Bongino said calmly. "Public record. Anyone can access it. This is character assassination. This is your staffer under oath saying you directed him to leak." I didn't. That's a mischaracterization." "Is it?" Bongino pulled out another document. "Here's a second deposition. Different reporter. New York Times. Same lawsuit." He read again. Question: Who was your source for the May 13, 2017 article about grand jury subpoenas? Answer: An official from Congressman Adam Schiff's office. Question: Did this official indicate they had authorization to share this information? Answer: Yes. They said Congressman Schiff felt it was important for the public to understand the seriousness of the investigation. Another document, CNN, August 2017. Quote, "A source close to Congressman Schiff confirmed that Mueller's team is examining Trump business transactions." End quote. Another MSNBC, October 2017. Quote, "According to a senior Democratic aide familiar with Congressman Schiff's thinking, the evidence of collusion is substantial." End quote. Bongino stacked the documents in a neat pile. 4 different reporters, 4 different outlets, all pointing back to you and your staff, all containing classified information, all published within hours of classified hearings. He leaned forward. "You want to tell me you had no knowledge of this? That your chief investigative counsel was just going rogue, calling reporters on his own, leaking classified information without your approval?" Schiff's mouth worked. No sound came out. "Or maybe, just maybe, you were running a coordinated campaign, leak to the press, go on TV and confirm the story. Create a narrative. Pressure the investigation, destroy your political opponents." Schiff found his voice. "This is insane. I have never compromised sources and methods. I have never put American intelligence assets at risk." "Haven't you?" Bongino pulled out one more document. This one was different. Official letterhead. Department of Justice seal. This is a letter from the DOJ to the Intelligence Committee, dated March 2019. Subject: Disclosure of classified information. He read, quote, "This office has identified multiple instances where classified information discussed in closed Intelligence Committee sessions subsequently appeared in press reporting. These disclosures have damaged ongoing investigations, compromised intelligence methods, and potentially endangered intelligence sources. We request that the committee conduct an internal review to identify the source of these leaks." End quote. Bongino set the letter down. "The Department of Justice asked you, the ranking member and later chairman of the Intelligence Committee, to investigate leaks from your own committee. Did you?" Silence. "Did you, Congressman?" More silence. "I'll take that as a no. Hard to investigate yourself, I suppose." Republican committee members were conferring quietly. Representative Biggs passed a note to Representative Jordan. Jordan read it, nodding. In the gallery, a conservative activist held up a sign. Someone tried to take it down. A scuffle broke out. Security moved in. Chairman Jordan called a 2-minute recess. The chaos provided no relief for Schiff. He sat, didn't move, didn't drink water, just stared straight ahead. His lawyer leaned in, whispering urgently. Schiff shook his head. The lawyer whispered more. Schiff said something short, sharp. The lawyer sat back, frustrated. 2 minutes passed. Chairman Jordan gavels the room back to order. "Mr. Bongino, you may continue." Bongino nodded. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. He looked at Schiff. We've established that you lied about evidence. We've established that your office leaked classified information. Now, let's talk about the people you destroyed. Bongino's voice changed. The prosecutorial edge softened. Not much, but enough. This wasn't about documents anymore. This was personal. Congressman Schiff, do you know Michael Flynn's grandson? The question caught Schiff off guard. His eyes narrowed. I don't see how. His name is Michael, same as his grandfather. He's 12 years old now. He was 5 when this started. Bongino pulled out a photograph, projecting it on the screen. A little boy, kindergarten age, missing a front tooth, big smile, hugging his grandfather, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, at what looked like a family barbecue. That's Michael, age 5, happy kid, loved baseball, loved his grandfather, thought his grandpa was a hero. Another photo, same boy, older now, maybe 8. School photo. The smile was gone. That's Michael 2 years later, 3rd grade. You see that expression? That's what shame looks like on an 8-year-old. Bongino's voice hardened slightly. Michael's classmates saw you on television, Congressman. They heard you say his grandfather was a traitor, a Russian agent, a criminal. Kids don't understand nuance. They don't understand political theater. They hear traitor, and they believe it. He clicked to the next slide. Not a photo this time, a screenshot. Social media post. This is from Michael's mother's Facebook page, January 2018. Quote, Today, my son came home from school crying. They called his grandpa a Russian spy. They said he should be in jail. How do I explain this to an 8-year-old? How do I tell him his grandpa didn't do anything wrong when everyone on TV says he did? The room was silent, completely silent. You want to know what happened next? Bongino asked. The Flynn family went bankrupt. $5 million in legal fees. Their house gone. General Flynn's pension gone to pay lawyers. Their retirement savings gone. Michael's college fund gone. He clicked again. A newspaper article. Flynn family home foreclosure. They lost everything. And young Michael, he stopped playing baseball, stopped hanging out with friends, started having nightmares. His mother took him to a therapist. The diagnosis, anxiety and depression. Age 9. Bongino picked up a piece of paper. His hand trembled slightly, just slightly. This is a letter written by Michael's grandmother, General Flynn's wife. She wrote it 6 months ago. She gave me permission to read it here today. He cleared his throat. Dear Mr. Bongino, thank you for agreeing to tell our story. For 7 years, we have lived in hell. Not because of what my husband did. He did nothing wrong, but because of what was said about him. Our grandson lost his childhood. He lost his friends. He lost his joy. I watched a happy 5-year-old boy turn into an anxious, depressed 12-year-old. All because powerful people needed a villain. They didn't care who they destroyed. They didn't care about our family. We were just collateral damage in their political war. Bongino's voice cracked slightly. He paused, then continued. Our life savings are gone. Our home is gone. But those are just things. What we can't get back is time. Time with our grandson when he was happy. Birthdays where he smiled. Baseball games where he played without anxiety. 7 years of his childhood stolen. Not by criminals, not by foreign enemies. By American politicians who lied on television. He lowered the letter, looking directly at Schiff. That's one family, Congressman. One child. Want to hear about the others? Schiff's face was stone, but his eyes, His eyes were different now. Trapped. Desperate. Carter Page, Bongino continued. Do you know what happened to him? He was a Naval Academy graduate, worked in finance, by all accounts, a patriot who volunteered to help the FBI. And you said he was a Russian asset. Click. Carter Page's photo appeared. Professional headshot. Smiling. After the FBI obtained that FISA warrant, the one based on the unverified dossier you kept defending, Carter Page's life imploded. He lost his job. His colleagues wouldn't speak to him. His neighbors avoided him. Someone spray-painted "traitor" on his car. Another click. Photo of a car with red spray paint. He spent $3 million defending himself against charges that were never filed, against allegations that were never proven, because they weren't true. Bongino pulled out another document. This is an interview Carter Page gave last year. Quote, I lost my career. I lost my reputation. I lost my ability to earn a living. I applied for hundreds of jobs. Nobody would hire me. When they Googled my name, they saw Russian spy. It didn't matter that I was never charged. It didn't matter that the allegations were false. My life was over. Pause. He was innocent, Congressman. Completely innocent. And you destroyed him anyway. Click. Paul Manafort's daughter. Her name is Andrea. She's 38 years old, married, 2 kids. Her father went to prison, and yes, he committed crimes, financial crimes unrelated to Russia. But you know what destroyed Andrea's life? Photo appeared, a woman's face, exhausted, defeated. The media circus, the protesters outside her house, the death threats, the harassment, her children, your father's grandchildren were followed to school. Photographers, reporters, people shouting questions at 7-year-olds. Bongino's voice dropped. Andrea attempted suicide in 2019. Pills. Her husband found her. She survived, barely. He let that sink in. Her therapist's notes, which were released as part of a court filing, said she blamed herself for not defending her father more. She blamed the media for destroying her family. And she blamed politicians who turned her father into a symbol instead of seeing him as a human being. Schiff was staring at his hands now. Won't look up. George Papadopoulos, 29 years old when the FBI approached him, convicted of lying to investigators, a process crime, served 12 days in prison. Sounds minor, right? Photo. Young man, thin, gaunt. Prison photo. His fiancée left him. His mother had a stroke, stress-related. His father's business collapsed because nobody wanted to work with the Russian collaborator's family. George spent 2 years battling depression. Lost 40 pounds. His friends said he was unrecognizable. Another photo. Same young man, before and after. The difference was shocking. He was a kid, congressman, a campaign volunteer. Made a mistake. Lied when he was scared. But you turned him into proof of a vast conspiracy. Every time you went on TV and talked about Russian infiltration of the campaign, people thought of him, a 29-year-old who made one mistake. Bongino set down his notes. 5 families, 5 American families, destroyed, bankrupted, traumatized, driven to the edge of suicide. And for what? He spread his hands. For a narrative, for political points, for CNN appearances, and fundraising emails. He stepped closer to Schiff's position. These weren't collateral damage, Congressman. They were your targets, American citizens, with families, with children, with grandchildren, with hopes and dreams and futures. And you destroyed them with lies on national television 47 times. His voice rose, not shouting, but forceful, powerful. Michael Flynn's grandson will carry this trauma for the rest of his life. Carter Page will never get his career back. Andrea Manafort will always have those suicide attempt scars. And you got committee assignments, book deals, speaking fees, MSNBC contracts. Bongino pointed at Schiff. You profited from their destruction. You built your career on their suffering. You became a hero to half the country by turning innocent Americans into villains. The room was dead silent. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. So here's my question, Congressman. Bongino's voice dropped to almost a whisper, but every word carried. When you go home tonight, when you look in the mirror, when you lay down to sleep, how do you live with yourself? Schiff's hands were shaking, visible shaking. He grabbed his water glass, drank, set it down. The trembling didn't stop. How do you sleep at night, knowing you destroyed a 5-year-old boy's childhood? How do you cash your paycheck, knowing it came from ruining innocent lives? How do you call yourself a public servant when you served nothing but your own ambition? No response. Schiff wouldn't look up. Answer me, Congressman. Nothing. Answer me. The shout echoed, bounced off marble walls, reverberated through the chamber. Everyone jumped. Schiff, his lawyer, committee members, gallery observers, even the C-SPAN cameramen flinched. Yes or no? Schiff was trembling. His hands gripped the table. His face had gone gray. 10 seconds passed. 15. 20. The silence was unbearable. Finally, Schiff spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. I believed the information I presented was accurate at the time I presented it. That's not what I asked. I stand by my statements. Did you lie? Schiff wouldn't look at him, stared at the table. I believed. Bongino pulled out one final document, the coup de grace. He projected it on the screen, an email from Adam Schiff's personal account to his chief of staff, Daniel Goldman. Date, January 14, 2018. 11:37 p.m. Subject, to tomorrow's CNN appearance. Body. Den FBI confirmed again today they cannot verify Steele's claims, but we can't back down now. The narrative is too important. I'll go with overwhelming evidence language. Let me know if you disagree. The room detonated, screaming, shouting, cameras flashing like a lightning storm. Conservatives on their feet, applauding, cheering. Liberals rushing for exits. Reporters trampling each other to get to phones. Schiff stared at the screen, at his own words, his own admission, his own proof of guilt. His lawyer was pulling his arm. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. But Schiff wasn't listening. He was just staring at the email, at his destruction. Bongino's voice cut through the chaos, somehow audible despite the noise. You got the warning. You got the briefing. You knew it was false, and you went on CNN anyway. Not because you believed it, but because the narrative was too important. He walked right up to Schiff's position, leaned down and spoke quietly, but the microphone caught every word. That email was subpoenaed in a Freedom of Information lawsuit. Your personal account. You thought you'd deleted it. But nothing's ever really deleted, Congressman. The truth always comes out. He straightened, looking at the cameras. That's what this is about. Truth, justice, accountability. He pointed at Schiff without looking at him. This man lied to America, destroyed innocent families, leaked classified information, obstructed justice, and he did it all for political power. His voice rose to fill the room. In any other country, he'd get away with it. Powerful people protect their own. But this is America, and in America, we have something other countries don't. Pause. We have accountability. He looked directly at Chairman Jordan. Mr. Chairman, I hereby formally request that this committee refer Congressman Adam Schiff to the Department of Justice for criminal investigation on charges of leaking classified information, perjury, and obstruction of justice. Jordan nodded slowly. So noted. I further request that this committee begin censure proceedings against Congressman Schiff for conduct unbecoming a member of Congress. So noted. And I request that the families of Michael Flynn, Carter Page, Paul Manafort, and George Papadopoulos be granted the right to pursue civil litigation against Congressman Schiff for defamation, emotional distress, and malicious prosecution. So noted. Bongino turned to the gallery, to the cameras, to America watching. This hearing is over, but the fight for justice isn't. These families deserve restitution. These victims deserve vindication. And this man, he gestured at Schiff without looking, this man deserves to be held accountable for what he's done. He picked up his briefcase, closed it with a sharp click. Truth always wins. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes courage. Sometimes it takes ordinary people standing up and saying, "No more." He walked toward the exit, stopped at the door, turned back one last time. Congressman Schiff, you destroyed American families for political power. You lied to the American people for 7 years. You betrayed your oath. You betrayed your country. You betrayed everything this institution is supposed to stand for. Final pause. And now, finally, you'll answer for it. He walked out. The room erupted again, total chaos. Jordan's gavel was useless. Schiff sat alone, his lawyer on the phone, his staff scattered, his colleagues avoiding eye contact. Cameras captured it all. The broken man, the destroyed politician, the exposed liar. One image would define this hearing. It would be on every news channel, every website, every social media feed. Adam Schiff alone, staring at his own email. Proof of his lies projected on the screen behind him. The caption wrote itself, "Caught." The committee room emptied in chaos. Reporters sprinted for the hallway. Cameras packed up at record speed. Everyone wanted to be first with the story. Outside, the marble corridor became a war zone. Bongino emerged from the chamber. Instantly, 50 reporters swarmed. Cameras, microphones, lights. "Mr. Bongino, Mr. Bongino, what happens next? Do you think Schiff will resign? Will there be criminal charges?" He stopped, raised a hand. The crowd quieted slightly. Today was about truth. 7 years of lies were exposed. Innocent Americans were vindicated. And a corrupt politician was held accountable. Flashbulbs exploded. I don't know if Congressman Schiff will resign. I don't know if he'll face criminal charges. That's up to the Department of Justice. That's up to the voters in his district. That's up to his own conscience, if he has one. A reporter shouted, "Some Democrats are calling this a partisan witch hunt." Bongino laughed, short, hard. Partisan? We showed his own emails, his own TV appearances, his own staff's testimony. An FBI whistleblower under oath said Schiff knew he was lying. That's not partisan. That's called evidence. Another reporter, what do you say to people who still support Congressman Schiff? I'd say, watch the hearing, watch the video, look at the documents, and then ask yourself, do you want to be represented by someone who lies to you, who destroys innocent families, who leaks classified information? He paused, because that's who Adam Schiff is, not what his PR team says, not what his campaign ads claim, but what the evidence proves. Do you think this will impact the Democratic Party? I don't care about political parties. I care about justice. If Democrats want to defend Schiff, if they want to stand with a proven liar, that's their choice. Voters can judge them for it. He started walking. The crowd followed. Mr. Bongino, do you have a message for the families affected? He stopped, turned back. His expression softened just slightly. To Michael Flynn's family, to Carter Page, to all the victims, today was for you. Justice took 7 years, but it came. And we're not done fighting. Civil suits, criminal referrals, whatever it takes to make this right. His voice hardened again. You didn't deserve what happened to you. You were innocent Americans destroyed by a political machine. But you survived. You persevered. And now the man who tried to destroy you has been exposed. He looked directly into the camera. Truth wins, always. He walked away, didn't take more questions. Down the corridor, Adam Schiff exited through a side door. His lawyer shielded him. His staff formed a protective barrier. Reporters swarmed him too. Congressman, Congressman, do you have a response to the allegations? Will you resign? What about the email? Schiff kept walking, eyes forward, face blank. No comment. Congressman, the FBI whistleblower said, no comment. Your own email suggested you knew. No comment. The shouts echoed, desperate, angry. He reached the elevator, jabbing the button repeatedly. His hands shook. The elevator opened. He rushed in. Staff followed. Doors closed. He was gone. Upstairs in the Speaker's office, an emergency meeting. Democratic leadership huddled. Speaker, Majority Leader, Whip. Committee chairs. How bad is it? The Speaker asked. An aide pulled up social media on a tablet. Showed the screen. Schiff lied was trending #1. Censure Schiff was #2. But lock him up was #3. We're getting killed. Another aide chimed in. CNN and MSNBC are trying to spin it, but even they're struggling. The email is too damning. The FBI whistleblower is too credible. The Majority Leader shook his head. We need to distance ourselves immediately. Put out a statement. These are serious allegations that deserve thorough investigation. That sounds like we're abandoning him, someone said. We are abandoning him. He lied on camera for 7 years, and now we have proof. We can't defend that. But he's been one of our most effective. He's done. The Speaker's voice was final. Strip him from intelligence. Start ethics proceedings. Let the Justice Department do what they're going to do. And we move on. Silence. What about censure? We'll have to support it. If we don't, Republicans will force a floor vote anyway. Better to get ahead of it. This is going to hurt in the midterms. Not as much as defending him would. Downstairs in a secure conference room, Republican members celebrated. High fives, handshakes, laughter. Did you see his face? That email! I thought he was going to pass out. Bongino destroyed him. Absolutely destroyed him. Chairman Jordan stood at the head of the table. All right, settle down. We've got work to do. I want criminal referrals drafted by tonight. Ethics complaints filed tomorrow. And we need to schedule hearings on FISA reform. Representative Gates grinned. Jordan, this is the biggest win we've had in years. Let us enjoy it for 5 minutes. Jordan allowed a small smile. 5 minutes, then back to work. Outside the Capitol, conservative activists rallied. Signs everywhere. Schiff lied. Flynn died. Justice for Flynn. Censure Schiff. Lock him up. Chants echoed across the plaza. Schiff must go! Schiff must go! Police kept them separated from counter-protesters. liberal activists trying to defend Schiff, but their hearts weren't in it. Even they knew. On cable news, the coverage was nonstop. CNN tried to frame it carefully. Questions raised about Congressman Schiff's statements. Fox News went hard. Schiff exposed. 7 years of lies revealed. MSNBC struggled. Their usual defenders sounded hollow. While the allegations are serious, we must remember the context. But the context was the problem, and everyone knew it. Social media exploded. Video clips went viral. The email reveal. The FBI whistleblower. Bongino's final confrontation. Conservative accounts celebrating. Liberal accounts silent or defensive. Within 2 hours, #SchiffLied had been tweeted 4 million times. By evening, news broke. Breaking. House Democrats to strip Schiff of Intelligence Committee assignment. Breaking. DOJ opens investigation into Schiff classified leaks. Breaking. Flynn family attorneys announced defamation lawsuit against Schiff. The dominoes fell. The House floor, packed gallery. Every seat filled. Censure vote. The resolution was read. Whereas, Representative Adam Schiff made false and misleading statements to the American people regarding evidence of collusion. Whereas Representative Schiff leaked classified information to the media. Whereas Representative Schiff's actions have damaged the integrity of Congress and harmed innocent Americans. Therefore, be it resolved that Representative Adam Schiff is hereby censured. The vote was called. Republicans, 221 votes yes. Democrats, 183 votes yes, 29 votes no. Bipartisan condemnation. Schiff was required to stand in the well of the House alone, while the censure was read aloud. He stood, face blank, eyes forward. The words echoed through the chamber. The House of Representatives censures Representative Adam Schiff for conduct unbecoming a member of Congress, for making false statements to the American people, and for damaging the integrity of this institution. It was over in 5 minutes. Schiff returned to his seat, didn't look at anyone. His desk was empty, boxes already removed, staff reassigned, office being cleared. After the vote, reporters caught him in the hallway. "Congressman, do you have any response to the censure?" He stopped. For the first time since the hearing, he spoke to the press. "I stand by my record. I stand by my service to this country, and I will continue to fight for the people of my district." "Do you regret your statements about Russian collusion?" Long pause. "I regret that we've reached a point where seeking truth and accountability is considered a crime." "What about the email? The one where you said the narrative was too important?" His face tightened. "That email has been taken out of context. It was your own words, Congressman." He stopped, stared at the reporter. "Are you calling yourself a liar?" For a moment, it looked like he might explode, might finally crack, might say something he couldn't take back. But his lawyer grabbed his arm, pulled him away. No further comment. He left quickly, gone. That night, more news broke. Breaking: 12 Democratic members call for Schiff to resign. Breaking: Schiff stripped of all committee assignments. Breaking: California Democratic Party censures Schiff. The fall was complete. Michael Flynn's house, Northern Virginia. A modest home, neat lawn. Inside, the living room was warm, comfortable. Photos on the walls. Family, grandchildren. General Flynn sat in his favorite chair, his wife beside him on the couch. Their grandson, Michael, now 12, played video games in the corner. The TV was on. News coverage. Former Congressman Adam Schiff's trial begins today on charges of leaking classified information. The former California representative faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted. Flynn muted it. "Don't need to watch that," he said. His wife nodded. "It's over. We're moving forward." There was a knock at the door. Flynn answered. It was Dan Bongino. "General, good to see you." They shook hands. Bongino came inside. "I was in the area. Wanted to check in." "We're doing well," Mrs. Flynn said. "The settlement from the lawsuit helped. Michael starts at a new school next month. Smaller, better environment." "How's he doing?" Bongino asked quietly. "Better. Therapy helps. And seeing justice done, that helped too." They sat, talked about life, about moving forward, about healing. Young Michael looked up from his game. "Mr. Bongino?" Yeah, buddy. "Thank you for what you did for Grandpa." Bongino's eyes watered slightly. He blinked it away. "You're welcome, Michael. Your grandpa is a hero. I just made sure people knew the truth." The boy nodded, went back to his game. Flynn leaned forward. "You did more than that, Dan. You gave us our lives back. You gave yourselves your lives back. You survived. You fought. You never gave up, because we knew the truth would come out eventually. It did. It always does." They talked for another hour about Flynn's plans. He was writing a book. About Mrs. Flynn's work. She was counseling other families who'd been through political persecution. About Michael's progress. Small steps, but progress. When Bongino left, Flynn walked him to the door. "Dan, seriously, thank you." They shook hands. Then Flynn pulled him into a hug. "You're a good man. Don't let anyone tell you different." Bongino drove away, past the protesters who used to camp outside Flynn's house. They were gone now. Past the media trucks that used to stake out the street. Gone too. Just a quiet neighborhood where a family can live in peace. Justice. 1 year after the hearing, Bongino's podcast studio. He was recording. And today marks 1 year since the hearing that changed everything. Adam Schiff is in prison, serving 7 years for leaking classified information. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. Michael Flynn's family settled their defamation lawsuit for $12 million. Carter Page settled for $8 million. Other victims received compensation. Not enough to undo the damage, but something. Congress passed the FISA Reform Act. New oversight, new protections, new penalties for abuse, named after the victims. The Flynn Protection Act. And most importantly, the FBI has been reformed. New leadership, new protocols, new accountability. He paused. But the real legacy isn't the laws. It's not the convictions. It's not even the money. It's that we proved something. We proved that, in America, nobody is above the law. Not congressmen, not politicians, not the powerful elite who think they can lie without consequences. We proved that truth matters, that evidence matters, that facts matter. We proved that ordinary people, families destroyed by lies, can fight back, can win, can get justice. 7 years they suffered. 7 years they waited. But they got their day. They got their vindication. They got their truth. He looked at the camera. To everyone listening who's fighting their own battle against corruption, against lies, against powerful people who think they're untouchable, don't give up. Keep fighting, keep telling the truth, keep demanding accountability, because eventually, always, the truth wins. The story was fiction, but the pain was real. Real families were destroyed by false accusations. Real lives were ruined by political lies. Real children suffered because Powerful people put politics over truth. The names were real. The suffering was real. The injustice was real. What happened in this story? The accountability, the justice, the vindication. That's what should have happened. That's what must happen. Because in America, we don't let powerful people destroy innocent citizens without consequences. We hold them accountable. We demand truth. We fight for justice every single time. He signed off. This is Dan Bongino. And remember, the truth is worth fighting for. 5 years later, a small ceremony. Arlington National Cemetery. General Michael Flynn being honored. Posthumous recognition of his service. The crowd was small. Close friends, family, fellow veterans. Dan Bongino stood in the back, watching. Flynn saw him, nodded, mouthed, "Thank you." Bongino nodded back. After the ceremony, they talked. "How's Michael?" Bongino asked. "Thriving, honor student, star baseball player, happy kid." "Good, that's good. He wants to join the military, serve like his grandpa." "You going to let him?" Flynn smiled. "How could I stop him? It's in his blood." They watched the families gather, the healing that had happened, the lives rebuilt. "You ever think about that day?" Flynn asked. "The hearing." "Sometimes. I watch the video occasionally when I need to remember that truth still matters." "It does. It always will." A pause. "Schiff gets out in 2 years," Flynn said. "I know. You think he learned anything?" Bongino considered. "I think he learned that consequences are real. Whether that changes him, I doubt it." "Me, too." They stood in silence. Two men who fought different battles for the same cause. Truth, justice, accountability. "Thank you, Dan. One more time, thank you." "You already thanked me, General." "I know. But I'll keep doing it. Every time I see my grandson smile. Every time he plays baseball without anxiety. Every time he goes to school without being called a traitor's grandson. I'll thank you." Bongino nodded. "Then you're welcome, General. Every time." They shook hands. Flynn rejoined his family. His wife, his grandson. Happy, healthy, free. Bongino walked away, back to his car, back to his life. But he carried something with him, something that would never leave. The knowledge that he stood up. He fought back. He told the truth when it mattered most. And he won, not for himself, for them, for the innocent, for the victims, for the families destroyed by lies. He won. And in America, when truth fights lies, truth always wins. It just takes courage. It takes evidence. It takes someone willing to stand up and say, "No more." Dan Bongino said it, and America listened.